Welcome, everybody. I would like to call to order the December 19th meeting of the Local Historic District Commission. And the first item on our agenda is to review and approve the November meeting minutes. I sent them out earlier today. They're super short. Did everyone get a chance to read them, or do we feel confident in being able to approve them, or do we want to just take a minute to read them now? Because they really are that short.
I'm good with them.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I second.
Fantastic. By roll call, Stephen,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Olivia,
Yes.
Mateo.
Yeah.
I vote yes, and Katie.
Do I have to abstain? I wasn't there, so I don't know if, like, I can't approve something I don't have any.
Unless
Okay.
you watch the recording.
I did not.
Okay, so abstain. Okay, so motion passes, and then the next item on our agenda is elections. Has anyone thought about whether they want to run for office?
I do not wish to run for office.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about running for mayor. Does that count? Or? Oh, sorry.
That's a
Other
different
office.
meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
Different
other
meeting.
office.
Yeah.
I'm content in my positions as they are.
I mean, if nobody wants the joy of being chair, I am happy to take it on for another year. And then I think at that point I will be ready to pass it on, so everyone is on notice.
well, I make a motion that we elect Lauren as chair again.
I second it.
By roll call, Olivia.
Aye.
Yeah. Beth,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Mateo,
Yeah.
and Katie.
Yep.
Okay. And then I make a motion that we elect Beth secretary.
I second.
Okay. By roll call, Olivia.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Stephen,
Yes.
Mateo,
Yeah.
and Katie.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. All right, so next order on the agenda, which actually could be really good for Jeff to hear,
I thought that
is,
too. Yeah.
the local historic district versus the state historic district versus the national historic district. Did everybody get a chance to read this email?
Yes.
No.
Okay, would you like me to just like share my screen so we can talk about it?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I think that might be easiest. Okay, are we seeing this?
Yes.
Fantastic. So I know that we had had some questions about single building historic districts and like what all goes into it. And my biggest concern on this was just making sure that we're not hurting anyone in terms of making stricter requirements on them in a single building situation with no particular benefit to them. So that's why I reached out and got this clarification. So the National Register of Historic Places is largely honorary, and it provides a review process if federal and state permitting, license, or funding will be used. But that's only that. Otherwise, it's just a very simple process. The state register is nothing that you can nominate a property to. It kind of can get the state status through being a local historic district, is my understanding of it. Olivia, if at any point I don't make sense, please correct me.
You're right on. You're right
okay.
on.
So again, it's projects that involve permitting, licensing, or funding are reviewed. And they can apply for CPA funding. That's the big thing about the register, the state register. And if a community has adopted CPA, which we do have, even though we dropped our contribution to it in this last election. And some communities do have restrictions around CPA funding through private property. So I know that it's pretty strict around religious property, and I've been on CPA just for a few months, so I'm still definitely getting my feet wet there, and I don't understand the whole process at this point. But I do know that if it's used for or intended to be used for religious purposes, then it is not eligible for CPA funding.
Mhm.
And then local historic districts on their own don't provide any specific benefit to property owners. However, the designation automatically lists the property on a state register, so then they could apply for the above. And their local historic district properties aren't eligible for any rehabilitation taxes. And then we would, like, as you know, we review everything in the Fairfield district in terms of exterior property that's viewable from the public way. So I just kind of wanted to give everybody that little primer, and I am happy to send this out again, just so that we understand when we're talking about single buildings, like we're not actually able to offer them anything in terms of like access to funding, except that they could get on the state register and that could eventually get them to some funding potential, but we can't help facilitate that process aside for potentially like a letter of recommendation. So I just wanted us all to be aware of that.
Lauren, haven't you also observed as a professional that the designation historic district does not diminish the value of a home?
No, it doesn't diminish the value of a home in any way. I would say to some people, it may attract a different buyer. In fact, somebody who is very interested in a historic home. I do find that I try to reach out to every realtor that lists on Fairfield to make sure they understand what the local historic district is, because there is a lot of misconception about us being a very challenging board to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Which is people who have never come before us that just like think that it's really challenging. So I try to make sure that every realtor understands that we are, here to work with people on their homes. And then I make sure that they see like all of the documentation about the local historic district and what it means, just so there's no, so they can speak with confidence to anybody who's interested in the property and just not walk into it with any trepidation.
Yeah, good for you.
Because there is some, like I've heard people say, oh, I don't want to buy something that's listed on the National Register, and I don't want to buy something that's in a local historic district, because they are afraid that they're going to be told what they have to do. And everybody seems to know somebody that has a horror story, but like I don't know that anyone, or everybody knows somebody who has a horror story. So it's not like a real thing. It's just like urban legend kind of stuff.
Well, it's in part because what is protected changes so much depending on the district and on the town and the city. So, there's places where you cannot paint your house a certain color.
Mm-hmm.
So, you need to get approval to paint your house, which we don't have, right?
Right.
Or there's so many exceptions in our ordinance, which is actually pretty well written with all the flaws that it also has. But I can understand how other people may have had different experience, and I do wonder what is that we can do to clarify these issues. I mean, obviously, more explanatory text on the website perhaps can help, but more than having them come and see that it's not that hard to get approval. I don't know.
Well, like today, and this is kind of going a little aside from the differentiation of the 3 types of districts, but today on Facebook somebody wrote on the local historic page, oh, the trees on Fairfield are getting cut down. I really hope the local historic district commission is planning on replacing them. And I wrote back and said, the local historic district commission does not have a budget. We're all volunteers and that wouldn't fall under our purview. And they said, well, then you should apply to CPA for it. And I think that could potentially be done, but I don't know.
So there is a little bit of history there, if you want.
Great. Yes.
Marco looked into it a few years ago and was told something a little weird that we weren't super in accord, super in agreement about, which is that the median is not part of the historic district in some sense because it's only a road feature. And so we cannot apply for CPA funding for something that involves the median because it's actually not part of the district. It's something like that. It may not have been exactly that, but essentially the idea is that the median it's not protected in some way.
I suggested to the person that they reach out to the city arborist to see if there are any trees that can be.
That's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Also, part of my reason for that was without knowing that bit of history about the CPA, I know that we're about to hear all the applications, so there would be no time to get an application in before if that was something that was viable, there'd be no time to do that for the 25 budget. So, Jeff, I think this is a good time to kind of check in with you and see what you were thinking in terms of the Wykoff Park Historic District. I'm skipping ahead to item 6. I hope that's okay. Because I think it's a good conversation based off of the 3 different types of historic districts. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's really just one of those things where, like I said, it came up on its 100th anniversary, and didn't know what, the city's, I guess, procedure was to recognize, historic properties. And, I think really nothing more than just maybe, I don't think we're looking for any funding or anything like that to do anything. I think the area is pretty well maintained. They're going through surf separation up there, so they're going to be putting all new roads in and sidewalks, I'm sure, once that's finished. So it's really just what, are there things like plaques for the homes? Are there, signage, anything that has to do with the historical significance of the area? Just to recognize it. Like I said, I don't think anybody's looking for funding or anything to do any improvements. I think it's just more recognition of the historic nature of the area.
So the Historical Commission has a plaque program. I don't know if it's back up and running. So that would be a suggestion for plaques. And in terms of signage, the only way that we would be doing signage is if we created a local historic district out of Wykoff Park, which would need the support of it's a process that we go through in which we do a historical inventory of the entire area. We put together a report, and then it has to go get approved.
So I guess what is the qualification for that? Like what would be looked at in that kind of situation?
I can send you the packet on how to do it. I think
I'm just out of curiosity, because I can share it with some of the neighbors and whatnot and see what their interest is.
Yeah, the big piece of it is that once we get through all of the steps, the last step is that it has to go to city council and be approved by city council.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which, if I think we had the support of everyone in the neighborhood, would be likely.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think I have your email address from Beth, and I can send it over to you. And then if you and I want to have a conversation about it, or if you want to have a conversation with somebody else,
that'd be great. That'd be great.
I'm happy to keep helping this along for
Yeah, because I think the Wykoff Park neighborhood, I think it goes, it's not just the little area by where I live. I think it's like across the street, like where Beth lives, and I think there's even another street where Counselor McGrath Smith lives.
Yep.
There's a yeah. It's like it's an area. I mean, it's not just the where the little sign says Wykoff Park. I think it's that whole kind of like there. I think all the homes are around the same vintage.
Yeah. Beth, are you technically Wykoff Park or are you Highland Park?
I think I'm technically Highland Park. I think this
Oh,
little
okay.
like quadrant of roads up here is Highland Park, but it's so adjacent to Wykoff Park.
But isn't the street named Wykoff?
It is. It's Wykoff Street. Yeah, which is right next to me.
Right. Which is yeah. That's okay. So then maybe I'm mistaken because I just figured Wykoff Street was part of the Wykoff Park neighborhood, but wow. Okay. No, like I said, it's just well, in regards to the plaque program. So I think I had commented on one of Olivia's posts. She put up there that the plaques were available, and I got this nasty message from Bob Cuomo. And I know Bob. He's come and done and did my house, whatever. But he's like, well, technically your house wasn't finished until 1928, so it doesn't hit the 100-year mark, even though it was started in 2004 or 1924. I'm like, all right, Bob. I
mean,
think I'm close enough.
Yeah, he is a stickler for it. That is his thing.
That's what I said. I'm like, you son of a gun. Like, I can't believe. So, but yeah, I think getting the packet, just kind of seeing what's involved, and like I said, just pursuing it and seeing if people are interested would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm happy to help. Happy to get that
Awesome.
going.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's very interesting stuff. I mean, the work that you do is definitely appreciated, and Holyoke has a lot of history, and the more that we can do to preserve it is definitely a good thing.
Sure.
So Beth, I'll share with you the Historical Commission application for the plaque
Okay.
information. So it's easy and you could send it out to Jeffrey or to, so you can have it.
I filled it out already, and I guess Dean is the one that's putting them together, right?
I don't know.
Somebody told me it was Dean's
yes,
shop, I think, that's
yes,
making them
in
up.
the
Yeah, which is
carpentry
cool.
shop, yes.
Yeah, that's a cool use of the like we were even thinking like even just getting something like because we're an Olmsted neighborhood too, maybe a wood if the school had a wood shop or the DPW or something like that, maybe even just getting like something that had the history on it to put on the island. I just and again, we're not asking for much, just some historic recognition for the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Well, we'll connect with you after, after the meeting and get you over that information.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. And again, I appreciate everything you do for Holyoke. And it's a great city. I've been here now almost 7 years, and no regrets. Completely love it. So, all right. Well, have a great night, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Take
you.
care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So skipping back to number 5, new members. We had somebody reach out who was interested in joining. I sent them the information about the meeting last time, and then I sent them the information about this meeting, and they did not show up. So I'm guessing the interest has waned. But who knows? Maybe in the new year they will reach back out.
It's that weird time of year.
It is a weird time of year.
It's just
we put out a press release. We haven't gotten any response to
Okay.
that for an architect specifically. I didn't get any further information or follow-up from sorry, my brain just went blank. The architects organization, the Association of Architects. So I guess we're kind of just back to seeing if anybody has any ideas on how to like drum up some additional members. And that also brings me to Olivia. This is technically, or this had previously been stated as your last meeting with us. I'm wondering if you've rescinded that or what all goes on there.
Thank you for the invitation, but I'm gonna pass this time, at this time. We've got some medical issues going on here at the house, so it kind of, it helps to be, to kind of clear the desk,
Yeah.
so to speak, yes.
So
But,
has
I'm
historical
always a phone call away, so, for sure.
much appreciated. Has historical commission decided on who your replacement will be?
I don't know. They did not have a quorum at the December meeting, so I don't know what's happening.
Okay, I'll reach out to Chris and see if he has any
Okay.
ideas. I'm assuming it will either be he or Joseph. So I will check in. So does anybody have any ideas on who we can reach out to as members? Or for members?
Is it worth making a post on the Hello Holyoke
Probably.
group on Facebook?
And probably on the local historic district page.
Yeah, and there's a Highlands
Yeah.
group too.
I'm gonna do that in the beginning of January because it's gonna get lost in the shuffle now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Beth, maybe you and I can connect on it and like
Would
figure
love to. Yep.
out what to write for it, and then prior to our next meeting, but after all of the holiday stuff, we will post it up. Anybody else have any thoughts?
I'm thinking, Lauren, that there are organizations or events that attract people who are historically inclined.
I just feel like most of the people that I know that are on boards are so over leveraged because they're on multiple boards.
Mhm.
Like anyone that I can think of is like on 3 boards already.
Yeah.
Do we have
Yeah.
flyers up at the library? Is that a possibility for recruitment? Or especially in the historic room? Excuse me. What?
I mean, I guess
yeah,
also
we can try, but my impression is that's also a pretty low traffic area because their hours are very irregular.
what about at Wisteria, Hearst?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Does anyone want to take on the task of making some flyers?
I will in the new year.
Okay.
Be happy to do that.
All right.
If you send me the image, Beth, I can distribute it.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Love to. Yes.
Right. All right. Moving on to new and old business. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Lauren,
Or
I have a bit of old business that
Yeah.
the inventory forms that Linda Levin
Yes.
had in her archives. They've been combined with actual current photos. They needed the current photos. So there were about 23 photos that needed to be collected. So I did that. We sent we sent Mateo's file to Mass Historic. And I think they should be up on macros, in the macros file, probably after the holidays, something like that. So that circle has closed. Thank
Thank you
goodness.
so much.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, and there's still a lot of, the Holmes Carriage House. They asked for more photos of that. It was a little difficult to, had to get at different angles. I don't know which angle they used,
Hmm.
but, and most of the houses I think all the houses are going to be on there now. So the circle is closed. Let's hope.
Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of old business, the two buildings that you brought up to us as single building historic districts, the church on Appleton and the residence on Northampton.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any further conversations with those people, and is that something that they're interested in, or are they kind of just, I don't know that we do the church any favors, to be honest, by them being, I don't know.
Well, as you mentioned before, the bell tower is being, they're working on the bell tower currently. So it's a long process. They have a lot of work to do in that church. They're not getting funding from CPA or any government, any other, because it's a religious structure. So that puts them in a whole nother ball game. So I'm not sure even if they could apply for grants, if they would be approved because of the religious nature of the
Right.
building. But they're definitely in favor of that. You know, Carlos and his directors are willing to do anything. So I probably after the holidays, there might be a conversation that we can have with Carlos if they want to follow through with that.
Okay.
And the property on Northampton Street, 1155 Northampton Street is still a mess. He's not going to do any, he's not going to, he's not going to do anything at all. So he may say one thing and then turn around the next day and say, oh, I'm not in favor of that. So
just let it lie.
Let it lie. Yeah. It may come back in our laps at some point, but right now it's nothing. I don't see anything happening right now.
Okay. I just wanted to close the loop on those two because if this is your last meeting, I didn't want to leave that hanging out.
Yeah.
And I know that you're a phone call.
I mean, I'm still working on Steve. You know, it's like, okay, Steve,
right?
We're going to fix up this landscaping, you know, or do the house, or you know. But it's a exercise in frustration because he says one thing and does another.
It is a stunning property, but I cannot, like, I tried to wrap my head around what the landscaping cost would be to get that back in order. And it broke my
what address is this?
1155 Northampton Street. Mateo, it's the former William Skinner grandson's property from the vintage of 1930, 1929, before the big, back when Skinner's was waning and the industry was waning, and so you can see a little bit of the property now from the highway because the foliage is down, but it hasn't been cared for or maintained in any way except for trees that are fallen down, or the Board of Health has demanded that he cut his front lawn. So it has two big shrubs in the front.
There's a giant no trespassing sign.
Yeah.
But it has the front yard, because we got to walk it. It was pretty spectacular, and it's tiered, and it has multiple ponds and a massive fountain that when you imagine what it was, the house is so grand and so amazing. But it is not that today. And just the thought of what that landscaping bill would be just.
Oh, that's like 5 years in the making. I mean, easily.
Mateo, imagine a Mayan temple that's being swallowed up by the jungle.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is magnificent.
I was trying to
It's like the Hearst Mansion in San Clemente.
I was trying to find it on Google Maps, but I cannot. I don't think it matches what you're telling me. So
It's a quarter mile off of Northampton Street.
oh,
If you Google the address, if you go to Zillow and you look at the address, you'll find the old listing.
okay. All right, I'll look into it.
The driveway itself is a hike.
Mhm. He considers it a nature preserve because there's probably bobcats and deer and skunk and all kinds of creatures in there.
I'm sure there are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, oh, the only other thing I think we have on our agenda tonight is setting our meeting for January. So, sorry, bear with me. So January 16th would be the third January. Does that, or the third Thursday, does that sound good to everyone?
I know I'm not available that day.
Are you available the 23rd?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Because I think we're gonna need to make sure we can all be here at meetings to does the 23rd work for everyone else?
Yes.
Works
Yes,
for me.
yes.
All right. So January 23rd at 5:30 is the next time we will all see each other's faces. Have amazing holidays and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank
Happy New
you.
Year.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? I forgot
Oh,
that.
motion.
Oh, I second that.
Okay. Thank you, Olivia, for all of
Thank you,
your work.
Olivia.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see you around campus.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.